And especially when they are being bullied by somebody who doesn't look like that.
Now we call it bitchy resting face, right? And it's a thing that this is just the face God gave me. A bat of mine that I like so much because I like to say I have a big ass. So when I half-ass something, it's still pretty.
Thank you for tuning in. We are the Mod Afro Mamas. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, please some love. Hit that red button down there. Today we are talking about bullying. And bullying comes in many ways, shapes, and forms. Velma, what do you think about this topic?
You know, this bullying thing, me, I'm an expert by virtue of being bullied in high school. But just for the sense of going chronologically, I'm going to start with you because you have young ones. How do you deal with bullying? How do you speak to them about it? Have you experienced them going through bullying so far?
It's one of those things that as a mom, you really cannot prepare your children enough, right? Because it's online bullying. They're with their gadgets. So I monitor what they're doing online, right? You just don't go accepting friends from people that you do not know, parents that I do not know. You know, what scares me most is at school, right? Yeah. And especially around this time when the country is so divided, I fear that my children, when they raise concerns about bullying, nobody will believe them. And especially when they are being bullied by somebody who doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
Like my daughter, when she was going through her chemo and all that, she had a deformation on her nose. What concerns me is when she's at school, kids will make fun of it. How she's supposed to respond. And she has had those experiences. Oh, yes. And the thing is, she doesn't tell me, when she comes home, she doesn't tell me, like, oh, as a victim. She says, oh, when they told me, I told them, hey, I look as normal as you are.
Yeah.
Some days you have good days, like you feel like you have the energy and you're able to face this bully. Yes. But some days you get defeated. Some days you're defeated. It's like, how do I have to keep on, answering the same theory?
What society paints for us is what beautiful is, right? You watch all these ads and all these things online where you look, right? You're supposed to be a certain weight, a certain color. You're supposed to have a lip gloss to look a certain, to be beautiful. And so it's got to be really hard, especially if you become a teenager. Because I remember a teenager, the things that I was so insecure about, and sometimes I look at them, I'm like, no one even noticed. But for me, it was like such a big deal.
It bothered you. It bothered you. Yeah.
My God. Yeah. I understand that. I mean, my personal experience has been in high school, and a girl, I was bullied. Oh Lord, I remember my high school. My high school had this thing where we used to have house meetings. So you have houses based on brown house, blue house. Yeah. So we'd have these meetings, and I remember the first time they did it is they would talk about issues because while we were the same house, lived in the same dorm, except now from one we're all in the same dorm, and then from 3 were in the house dorm. So I remember the first time somebody did the announcement, they're like, Velma, you need to stop sneering. So I'm like, what? And I was so embarrassed. I remember just recoiling. Like, of all the Form 1s, you notice me, and the thing is, I'm sneering at TCG, and I've always kunjad my face. Next time we had house meeting the next week, because now I spent a whole week of not sneering. Oh, Velma, Munai, stop having attitude. I'm like, what? So funny, because now we call it bitchy resting face, right? And it's a thing that this is just the face God gave me. But I was so traumatized.
I can. Whoever was calling out your name, were they in the same grade as you?
So our community nani amesema, and I think that's the most traumatizing part. Sindio, kuna ile you're having a house meeting, that part of the minutes of the meeting where complain. So they don't tell you. So it could literally be just a girl that didn't like me. Period. Right? Yes. But every time as a Form 1, I'm brand. The first time I'm away from home on my own. Okay, I'm in a boarding school. I'm trying my best to survive. Una learn all these things. It was so hard. I remember we used to wake up at like 3, 4 in the morning to chota maji ya kuoga, and we had what was called seniority. So you can line up from that maji from 2 in the morning. From 4 akikuja aneka maji mbele yako. Yes. Na akikuja friends wake wana tag. That used to. Oh my God! But that wasn't the bullying
you can do. Yes, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That wasn't the worst part, because that was happening to everybody. But now there was this thing, this kabat of mine that I like so much, because I like to say I have a big ass. So when I half-ass something, it's still pretty. I'm still doing a pretty good job. I remember I was coming out of our dorms, because Form 1 lived in the same dorm, and this girl would sit outside our dorm, and they'd be like, so umetoka na bucket yako unaenda kuchota maji. Jioni too, maybe a weekend, you're trying, because you'd store water under your bed, which is probably why we're eating mamas all the time, but you store water under your bed so you have water for the next day, because others don't have. So I'm walking out and she's like, you have a big butt, stand over here. Another girl walked up, you grab your bucket, turn it over, start beating a beat, you dance. Yeah, they used to do shit like that to us. And they'd be like, just come up with a song and dance. And I was just like, you're tired, you're homesick, you're stressed. Okay. So
I wonder if it's happening now.
I think it happens. I just think now they're at a different place. Like, I'm actually glad I didn't grow up in a digital age, because I've heard pretty crazy rumors about me when I'm in school, you know, and I'm like, now if these people had phones and were texting each other, right? Simply because you did not fit in. Like, again, I was still a tomboy. I think you were from one. I was still like a tomboy. So I remember once I went to, we used to call it Masquire. And my best friend at the time in primary school, I met her brother Masquire. So he bought me a soda. Which him, I'm like, his small sis, no big deal. Girl, we went back to school. Kumbe, there's a chick was into him. Me, I don't know. That's like my bro, Nimemkuta. I'm like, oh, yes, so much. You know, your pocket money is running low. Girl, I was put on punishment. I can't even explain why I was punished. Oh, when you go out, you're talking to boys. Mind you, everybody was talking to boys. Me, I was talking to the one boy I know from home who's like yes. I was put on punishment. I'm not going to mention names. I would like to see what happened to you at this point in life, sister, because that was messed up. Yeah, nilipewa pano. Nakumbuka visiting day. Kuna day malikuanga anangoja. Once your parents come and visit, because you know you brought all these dishes.
They come and take all.
They take, first, not even that. They'll bring me your dishes, Wameka dishes, zimekambaka, zimecrust. Now they tell you to go wash them. Ati now, go wash. There's no water. Already as Form 1, you're washing the chores in the morning. I'm telling you, Form 1 and Form 2 was so hard for me. I give myself props.
That's cool.
With surviving, it was psychological torture. And the worst part is they would always stand on assembly. I remember
it is.
They just report it.
It is.
Nothing. They did nothing. I wrote letters, I wrote notes, those suggestion books. They never did. My first day of school, we're going to put your house mother. This is a girl in Form 2.
Yeah.
Now you're finally in a dorm. We went our thing with 4 beds. This one girl was just walking through. She looked at me. So I guess maybe this can make a face of mine. She's like, "Where beba mattress yako nifuate." She took me, Form 4, took my mattress, nikabeba nikamfuata, nikampatia mattress yangu, akanipatia yake. Imeisha.
Yes, they used to do that. So we were
told, if anything happens, report to your house mother. I went and told my house mother, kumbe even she's a Form 2. Sindio. She came, she asked me who did it. I went to show her. Nothing. She couldn't do anything. So bullying goes beyond fellow students, Sindio. Because now me, eventually, I ended up going to Malizad High School up country. For a lot of people, like, I guess maybe my parents was like, oh God, where's her life going? But I think God saved me, because if I had done high school, the school I started in, I don't think I would have performed in any way. I was too psychologically tortured. Life was about surviving and about feeling the same hurt you got on the next person. There was no bullying. People were calm. There was once in a while girls who didn't agree, because I mean, when you get too many females in the same space. But I didn't see that much sense chokozi. You know, but what I was bringing it back to though is the bullying by teachers, because it's bullying nonetheless. Because I didn't see going to school up country where the teachers want to pick and choose what you can and cannot do with your hair, for example. And it's a fight, It's not a suggestion, it's a fight. Like, why can't you have your hair can't be palmed? Than the other.
The teachers were the worst. You know, kata nywele. One time they just decided no more treating your hair. You cannot do a palm, you cannot do a straight kid, and those we used to call them. So they have decided, okay, now you have to cut your hair. Now you're telling you to cut your hair because you have chemicals. First of all, our hair takes time to grow.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the kind of torture it was, because you feel now, you stop feeling like a chick, right? Because once you cut your hair like that, munafanana, machali na madem, unless your body is just extra curvaceous at that time.
Right.
Let's all look like dudes.
The other thing, one thing though I liked about school back home is the uniforms. Because about munava uniforms, you watch the same. Velma, if you come here, you see the kids, what they wear to school. You see what they wear to school. Tell me about. And then the bullying also might come in because of the way you dress.
So I mean, if your parents can't afford to dress you a certain way, if your parents' style is just this, because once you're a kid, you're old enough. So and now you've already been set up.
Yeah, those cliques, there are those groups of girls that, you know, they dress up in some, and nowadays it's those little tight things that they wear.
So I feel like bullying is such a big and diverse topic, and I'm sure we'll have so much to talk about. Guys, share your experiences with us down below. Comment, like, subscribe, and share. And we'll certainly come back to this topic at a later date.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes.
Thank you for tuning into the Moda from Mamas. Bye.
Bye-bye.